When BitTitan puts out a product, it calls on two individuals to demonstrate those products to the world. Darrell Webster, super genius, and Jethro Seghers, evil mastermind. When they aren't pushing the envelope of string theory or searching for the Higgs Boson, they demonstrate the high-power BitTitan product line in Daring Demos with Darrell and Jethro.
Oh, hello. Welcome to Daring Demos with
Jethro.
Darrell.
Who?
Darrell and Jethro. That'll do.
Jethro and Darrell. Okay,
What are you doing there, Jethro?
Socks.
All right, yeah, just keep it in there for a bit longer.
Sure.
All right. Hey, so we've got a great question from a chap down in Australia by the name of Lorian Pohl. And he asks us about the Health Check for Azure tool that we're doing. So I'm just going to take you through a few concepts there, Lorian, and also Jethro is going to help me out with some questions that some of our viewers might ask as well. So we're going to do a little bit of whiteboarding. Right, hang on.
Glove, buddy.
Glove, right.
Not that type of glove.
Not that type of glove. All right, so we'll just take you through some of the concepts because the main purpose of this tool is to try and help you do your assessments a lot more efficiently, gathering information and trying to really capture a whole lot of information that's going to give you some decisions to be able to make. So we're going to, first of all, talk about the servers that we're assessing. Now these servers, they could be physical, they could be virtual, they're on your customer's environment, and you might have normally just sat down in front of them and gathered all this information about what the CPU is, what the specs are, how the server's being used, and doing it in quite a manual way. And the aim of our tool is to be able to use the MSP Complete portal to deploy an agent. Now the role with these agents is that they're going to collect a lot of information, actually across a period of about 14 days. In those 14 days, we suggest that you try and run these assessments during a busy period of the month, maybe at month end, so that there's a lot of processing going on and you can truly see how these servers are being used. So the agents, they're quite low profile, and what they do is they feed the information back to this portal over that 14-day period. And what we come out with is it's kept collecting CPU, collecting RAM statistics. We're getting performance counters. And using all this information across that 14-day period, you're able to make some more intelligent decisions because it's more than just a snapshot. Now, what can you do during that 14-day period? Laundry, perhaps. Or you could be putting some more time into other projects that are coming up. Because normally you'd be putting all this information together and trying to create spreadsheets, create pivot tables, maybe use Power BI and putting that all together into a PowerPoint. But the aim of this is to be able to bring that all together for you and make it a lot easier. So we come to that 14-day period and we have the assessment portal. Now this assessment portal is immediately showing you how your servers are being used. Because when we go into Azure, we're going to start paying for what we use. Paying for compute, paying for storage, paying for network. And you can see the breakdown here that we're looking at across an environment of 26 servers. We've measured physical servers, we've measured virtual servers. Could be Linux, could be Windows, and we can see that breakdown. Now what you'll see is within this result, we're looking at hardware pay-as-you-go. This is also known as the lift and shift method. And it's often what partners have done when they've started to try and move their customers into Azure, is that they have just looked at how the server is, what the specifications are. They've created that environment in Azure as best they can, and infrastructure as a service. And they haven't really tried to optimize or improve on that. And this means that the customer ends up paying perhaps, well, often, more than what they usually would expect. So our second scenario is the workload pay-as-you-go scenario. This is where we're looking at the actual workload that is run on that 14-day period. And in a lot of cases, it means that the server is being underused. They've been overspec'd. And it means that we are able to choose the right machine to be able to do that job. So you'll see in these results that there's an instant saving. You can see that we've measured across physical and virtual environments, looking at compute, storage and network, and we're able to see some savings straight away because often partners are oversizing these machines. So what we'll look at to start with is one server where we're looking at workload pay-as-you-go. And this server, if we look at the dark blue line, this is a server that we've looked at over the 14-day period, and we can see that it's using about 25% CPU for what it's doing. Now that means that if we were to try and just create that server as close as possible, we're paying for about 75% of the CPU that we're not really using. However, if we're going to right-size that machine, we're better off to try and pitch at this light blue line. This light blue line is around about 60% CPU. Now what we're using there is something called a service level threshold. And this is a way that we're able to try and right-size it just to our needs. Now I might be a partner who wants to have a lot more in reserve, so I might set my service level threshold at about 50%. And what our right-sizing is going to do is it's going to pick a machine that will make sure that your CPU and the way that the server's been used are going to be around 50% of the 50% CPU for 95% of the time. That means that any peaks that you have in your processing are going to be covered. You're going to have something in reserve. Our default is about 60%, but the great thing is with this tool, you can adjust it to your needs.
And is it only for CPU, or can we do that for other things too?
It's with CPU, but actually that brings up another good question. That sometimes we need to also right-size this to the pricing plans that we have available. So within that same tool of being able to design the project where we can adjust the service level threshold, we can also put in some of the custom pricing that we might have.
So like an enterprise agreement.
Exactly, that's right. So the default is that we'll see some of that pay-as-you-go. Someone comes up to Azure and they want to create a machine, that's the pricing available. But we also have that capability to put in your pricing for your enterprise agreement so that you can see the savings that you're going to make and be able to come out with a project that's costed that way. Now at the beginning of that assessment, we can point the assessment or choose the data centers that we're going to be using in the end. So down in Australia, that'll be the 2 Australian data centers. The good thing is that we have all those data centers that have been profiled. And I say profiled because some of those data centers, they may have different performance or just slight differences between the way that the systems work in there. So when you're doing your assessment, you want to tell the tool that I'm going to be moving my servers into Azure at that point. And that will come back with results that are relevant to where you're going to be moving into. Now you see that we're able to get a rundown of all the different machines that we have been assessing and which ones we should be choosing from Azure. So I did have a look closely at this server here, but you can see the compute, storage and network costs for each one. And the good thing about this tool is that it's interactive. It's not just a static spreadsheet. It's not a case of just delivering this to our customer and saying, here you go, this is what it looks like. But the idea is to bring your customer into a workshop and step them through the detail and start to make these plans together.
So how do I get the data out of MSPC or MSP Complete? Because it's a website, right? But maybe I want to do some reporting, some customizations. How can I do that?
Right, good question. So we do have an area where you can download it into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can get that same table into Excel, and then you're able to then make things a little prettier, maybe brand it up a bit, put it into Power BI and be able to work with some of these details. So in the next episode, we're going to take a look at the planner module where we'll start to look at the dependencies between servers and help us to make decisions about what to move and when. Stay tuned.